Monday, September 29th, 2025 at 5:15. This is a special meeting of the De Pere Board of Health, City De Pere Board of Health. We will start out with roll call. Pamela Grants.
Here.
Alderperson. Devin Perlock.
Here.
Here. Terry Gulas.
Here.
Terry. Robin Lawrenson.
Here.
Okay. Dennis Highbury. Here. We also have Health Officer Chrystal Woller.
Here.
And Sarah Lawrenson.
Here.
And Kelly Burke.
Here.
And we also have Assistant City Attorney Eric Erdman.
Here.
Here as well. Okay. So with that in mind, I guess we have everybody present. So we go to number 2, public comments on matters not on the agenda. Do we have any public here not on the agenda? Items not on the agenda? Doesn't appear that way. So we can go on to item number 3. And Chrystal, I'm going to hand that over to you, I believe, initially.
Sure. And I didn't know, Eric, if you wanted to take a moment to explain the process for everyone, both on the call and in the audience.
Mm-hmm. Why don't we do this? If we're going to handle items 3 and 4 together, Dennis, do you just want to read the items and then I will go into the ordinance for each point after that?
Can you have me read that much, right, Eric? Okay, we'll do. Okay, item number 3 is hearing on the City of De Pere determination of dangerous animal order 312 South Webster Street, issued by De Pere Health Director Chrystal Woller on 8/11/2025. Please take notice that pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 Pren 1 Pren A, the board may convene in closed session for the purpose of deliberating concerning the case, which was the subject of any judicial or quasi-judicial trial or hearing before that governmental body. The board may then reconvene in open session to take action on any matter discussed in closed session or for such other purposes as are allowed by law. That's item number 3. Item number 4 is hearing on the City of De Pere determination to revoke the animal variance 312 South Webster Street, issued by De Pere Health Director Chrystal Woller on 8/11/2025. Please take notice that pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 Pren 1 Pren A, the board may convene in a closed session for the purpose of deliberating concerning the case, which was the subject of any judicial or quasi-judicial trial or hearing before that governmental body. The board may then reconvene in open session to take action on that matter discussed in closed session or for such other purposes as are allowed by law. I should have brought my reading glasses on that one, so we'll be all set. Eric?
All right, thank you. So the item 3, whether or not to uphold the determination of a dangerous animal order, there were 2 boxes that were checked on the city's order. 1, an animal that without provocation inflicts substantial bodily harm on a person, domestic pet, or animal on public or private property. And then the second box, an animal that chases or approaches a person in a menacing fashion or apparent attitude of attack without provocation on public or private property. And then the statute in more detail, or I'm sorry, the ordinance is section 86.4, subsection C, sub 2, specifically B and C here. Just goes into greater detail. An animal without provocation inflicts substantial bodily harm, which means bodily injury that causes a laceration that requires stitches, any fracture of bone, a concussion, a loss or fracture of a tooth, or any temporary loss of consciousness, sight, or hearing on a person, domestic pet, or animal on public or private property. And then C, which is the second box here, any animal chases or approaches a person in a menacing fashion or apparent attitude of attack without provocation upon the street, sidewalks, or any public grounds, or on private property without the permission of the owner or person in lawful control of the property. The city is pursuing the order. The appellant, Mr. Opson, I believe, is here. The burden is on the city to establish, that the dog meets the criteria for being dangerous, and it's a civil burden in this case. It's a preponderance of evidence, which is essentially a more likely than not, I think, is probably a good way to look at it. for the board. More likely than not, that the dog meets the criteria for being dangerous. So I understand that there are going to be some witnesses that are going to talk about a couple different incidents. With that being said, Chrystal, I think, is going to call those witnesses or let them make statements. The appellant, Mr. Robson, will have the opportunity to ask those witnesses questions and then speak on his behalf. And then the board has the discretion to ask any questions that it may wish to ask, both of city staff that are here that were involved directly, in addition to witnesses that are testifying on behalf of the city, and Mr. Robson. With that said, we also have another item, item number 4, that Mr. Highbury read, and that is the hearing on the determination to revoke the animal variance. That one, I think we're probably the board's a little bit less familiar with, but essentially a variance was granted in this case to allow for more than 2 dogs as provided by ordinance. And the health officer, pursuant to that ordinance authority, did issue an order to revoke that variance based on some recent incidents. So we're also here on that too. Similar procedure, I think, and it's up to the discretion of the board, but I think hearing them, kind of considering them at the same time is appropriate. And then I think the same standards would apply in the same process as far as being able to ask questions of the appellant and the city. So I would say that I think we've probably had, I think it probably makes sense if you would like Chrystal to call witnesses first, and then Mr. Robson will be able to ask them questions after they have a chance to provide comments.
Eric, I just want to ask a question before we start the formal process.
Yeah.
You mentioned that a dog bite is not only between a dog and a human, but it could also be between dog and another animal. Is that correct?
Correct.
As it relates to the ordinance?
Correct. Yes, the term, dangerous animal under the substantial bodily harm component, animal without provocation, that injury that causes a laceration, concussion, etc., that applies to a person or a domestic pet.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Chrystal?
All right. So I think what I'll do, because I see some of the victims going in and out of the meeting, I think I will give a high-level summary of the incident, and if I see the victims on, I'll ask for their testimony at that time. So in accordance with Chapter 86.4, Parent C of the De Pere Municipal Code, the following findings support the issuance of the dangerous dog order. So that first incident on May 29th, 2024, in your packets, according to the quarantine order and police report information, Mary Pat Barrett and Mr. Robson's dog, Mac, was involved in an incident at 312 South Webster in which Mac reportedly substantially injured their other household dog, Grizzly, by biting the ear, causing it to dangle. And I'm reading from the report. This is the report findings. During the attack, Mac also bit their son. This attack was documented on the police report as being without provocation. And I didn't know at this time, Mr. Robson, if you wanted to come to the table just to speak on that specific incident, if you would like to explain that specific incident, and then we'll go into the other ones.
Okay. Sorry if I stand. Usually it's easier to talk.
Yeah, just make sure the mic is on if you want to just click just so it's picking up.
Okay.
Now try.
All right. So some backgrounds are going to be required for Sam. All right. Sam is 19 years old. I think at the time of the incident, he wasn't quite 18. He is autistic. Oh, thank you. I'll back up. All right. So Sam currently is 19 years old. At the time, he was 17. He is autistic. He also struggles from a couple of other disorders as well. So the reason for the police being called there that night is Sam was struggling already, and then the dogs are very sensitive to emotions in the house. Mac had a cone on from being at the vet, so he was already kind of wound up, and the 2 dogs got into it. Now, typically, we don't do anything. We let them fight it out. They don't ever hurt each other. They wrestle all the time. They growl at each other. With Sam already struggling that day, He then got involved, and we had to pull the dogs apart. And if you have ever tried to take the chew toy from your dog, what's the first thing they do when you grab it? They bite down. This was not, they were not attacking each other. They were figuring things out between themselves. And then once we got involved, we made the situation worse. And we didn't understand that in that moment, what we were doing and how to actually separate them properly. And then on top of this, we're dealing with Sam, who we have, like, when he gets to a certain point, we have to get the police involved because he needs to be actually restrained for his own safety. So that's the only reason the police were even called that night, was because he was struggling and he needed police involvement to be able to calm down, as you can read in that report. It's significantly more about Sam than it is anything to do with the dogs. Also, we did not argue him saying that he was bitten or scratched or anything like that. He had no puncture wounds on him. He had a scratch which could have been from him putting his hand through a wall, running over the fence. There's multiple instances of why that could have happened. We didn't understand the consequences, so we didn't argue with the police, and we had no problem taking the dogs to the vet because we knew that they didn't have rabies. So it's just the simple solution to not argue with anybody without understanding that that was the first step into leading here today. I think that about sums it up.
Okay, thank you. Then I have documented less than a year later, on April 23rd, 2025, according to the quarantine order and police report that was in your packet, Mac was involved in a second bite, as was the third dog, Buddy, involving an Instacart food delivery driver. Puncture marks were documented in 3 anatomical locations on the body of that victim, and medical care was rendered. So I would like to see now if the delivery driver for Instacart is on.
She's trying to join.
Oh, she's trying to join?
I'm telling her to call in.
Oh, okay.
That's
I see caller 2, but
that's the other one.
oh, that's the other one. Okay, so this is for the bite incident on April 23rd. And while that person,
Unfortunately, no. You have to click.
Sorry.
okay.
Sorry.
So while we're waiting, I might just add that after this second bite, in a letter dated April 24th, 2025, education was provided with the definition of the dangerous dog and a warning that if there was one more incident involving Mac, a dangerous dog order would be issued in accordance with De Pere ordinance and department policy and procedures. And that letter was in your packet. In addition, it was determined that the dogs were not up to date on their licenses, and the appropriate variance approval for the 3 dogs had not been filed. After multiple attempts to follow up with the pet owners, the appropriate documentation was received. The dogs were licensed, and a conditional variance was approved by the health officer, warning that if one more police incident, the variance would be revoked. And that language was also in the letter. So let's see now if that second bite victim is on the call. Otherwise, Eric, is it okay that we return?
Yeah, I think you can
She's
consider
trying
that at a later time if you want to go to or move to the next one if it's not an option now. That's
Okay.
totally fine.
Okay. And then I will go to the third bite, and then Mr. Robson, you'll have a chance at the end. So then less than 4 months later, on August 9th, 2025, according to the quarantine order and police report, Mac was involved in a third
Where did the fucking password go?
So, is this the second bite victim for bite occurring on April 23rd, 2025? If no, okay, so I'll keep going.
Wrote it on a fucking paper towel. Where the fuck did it go already?
Are you able to speak on the call? Caller 2. Maybe we'll just continue. Okay. So again, now this is August 9th, 2025, less than 4 months later. According to the quarantine order and police report, Mac was involved in a third bite incident involving another food delivery driver. This attack was documented on the police report as being without provocation. Victim's injuries were to his right knee area and medical care was rendered. And I can ask at this time, is the bite victim from August 9th, 2025 on the call? This would be the male victim. If you are, you can speak now and give your statement. I do see there are 2 callers on the screen.
Feel free to speak up if you'd like.
You would just need to unmute yourself.
This is technology at its
Yeah.
greatest, isn't it? Okay.
She said she's on the phone, but now can't hear anything after it says it's being recorded. So
I don't know, Jamie. Should we get Jamie to see if she can navigate the technical issue?
Eric, can you maybe check, see if she's back there?
Is there a...
They're trying to see if they're caller 2 and 3 have.
Get over it.
Where are them at? For now.
I think you gotta keep them. Somebody brings food to the.
Okay.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Okay, is this the bite victim from the bite incident occurring on April 23rd, 2025?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Okay, if you could please provide your impact statement or your statement as it relates to that bite incident on April 23rd, 2025.
Okay. I was doing a delivery, and in the notes it said to deliver to the lamppost. I got to the lamppost, and these dogs came up to me, and I thought they were going to be nice or whatever, but they started nipping at me. So I jumped up right away, and I was trying to get away from them, and I ended up by the garage, and I had 3 dogs jumping at me completely. I mean, nonstop. I was trying to get them down, and I kept yelling. I kept screaming, "Help, your dogs are biting me." And I got bit twice in my right leg. I got bit in my upper arm. I got bit twice on one breast. And then I got bit on my other leg where he tore my pants, and then he bit me in my arm. And then a girl came out, and there was a little child outside. The girl came out, and she's pulling her dogs away. She's not even asking me if I'm okay. She's already on the phone calling her father, and the first thing she says to me is, "Who did you report it to?" And that's all. And I went back to I called the police, and, it was just nonstop. It was like I was shaking. I mean, I was really nervous. And then the police officer came, and he was asking me if I had any open wounds. I'm like, I'm standing outside. I'm not going to undress out in public to check. When I get home, I will let you know. And I called him, and I said, yes, I do have an open bite wound. It wasn't a big one, but it made me bleed some, and it was really sore for a while. And so he did that. Then I got the police report in the mail, and it didn't even contradict. I didn't even have how it happened. In the statement, it says that I provoked the dogs. I never once provoked those dogs. I mean, I was totally shocked. I thought, okay, if they're going to jump on me, I'm used to dogs. But now, since that's happened to me, I'm having a hard time. Like when I go see other people, to do deliveries, I'm really hesitant because I even had one lady say to me, "Oh, don't worry, his bark's worse than his bite. He's not going to bite you." But I mean, seriously, I felt like I was going to get, bit again. So it makes me more hesitant now. So I've never been afraid of dogs, but after that incident, I'm uneasy with it now. So, because I was in pain quite a bit from that when the way it hit me right there in the breast. I mean, it was hard to work, lift things and carry things and, kind of traumatized you. But,
Hello?
yes.
May I ask, did
Hello?
you receive medical care?
Did I
Hello,
what?
this is Chris Anderson.
Did you receive medical care, go to the hospital or doctor, anything like that following the
Yeah, I
incident?
went to the doctor to have them look at it.
Okay. Were stitches involved or just basically clean up and bandages?
Just clean up and bandages.
Okay.
Any other questions for that victim? And then Eric,
Did she identify herself? Did you ask her to
Oh.
get her name and to identify herself?
Sorry, victim from April 23rd, 2025. The assistant attorney is asking if you could identify yourself.
My name is Heidi,
Full name.
and I'm a delivery driver.
Or last name.
Full name, Heidi Cranky.
Okay, thank you, Heidi. Is there do we ask for questions of the board? And does Mr. Robson then respond?
So, yep, the board has a chance to ask whatever questions they'd like to ask of Heidi, and then Mr. Robson has the opportunity to ask her questions as well.
Okay.
Any questions? Heidi, I have one. The owners of the
Sure.
dogs, what kind of assistance did they give you? Was there any assistance they gave you at all?
No, the girl just grabbed the dogs, put them in the house. She was already on the phone calling her dad, and all she asked me was who I called to report it to. I had no other assistance with that at all. And then the police officer came, and then he let me go. So I didn't have any assistance from the owner or his daughter, because it was his daughter that was there.
Heidi, I understand this is Terry Gulius. I'm one of the board members. I understand your fear after that incident. Has that impacted have you still been able to continue to work?
I can, yes.
Thank you.
Hi, so in the report it says that you were exposed when you went past the post and the fence after being told.
I never went past the fence. Yeah, I never went past the fence at all, ever.
Also, did anybody follow up with you to find out if you were okay or show any concern?
No. The only thing that happened was I called the police afterwards just to let them know I did have the actual bite, an opening. And that's all I've ever heard. I've never heard any more. Nobody ever called me.
Heidi, I do
except for when, go ahead.
I'm sorry, this is Chrystal, the health officer. I do have a question. Did our assistant health officer, public health nurse, Sarah, check up with you?
Did what?
Did she call and check on you? Sarah?
Sarah did call me after she heard about the dog bite. I'm trying to remember. I know she called me to ask me if I would appear, if I'd be willing to appear. Mm-hmm. But I'm not sure if I got a phone call. I don't remember. I think I did, but I'm not sure. I can't think back that far.
Okay. Heidi, I have another question. It's Pamela.
Sure.
Do you know if it was one particular dog? Was it all three dogs? Do you know? Maybe you don't.
All three dogs were biting at me. No, it was all three dogs. All three dogs bit me, but I think the one that bit me, I don't know which one was which. They all looked alike to me. Okay, there's three beagles. And they were all jumping at me. And I had two on my right side and one on my left side. And they were just nonstop jumping. I mean, they could jump high. So I don't know. You know, I didn't see colors of collars or anything like that. So I would not know.
Sure. Appreciate it. Thank you. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah, you know, I was kind of more worried about the little girl that was outside, you know, and especially, like I was telling Sarah earlier, I'm more concerned now because I thought, okay, well, the dogs are their dogs and the little girl's used to them and the dogs know it. But I told Sarah a story about my great niece the other day. They've had their dog 7 years, sweetest dog ever. She pet that dog on the neck, and he turned around and he tore her ear off. She had to have it reattached with stitches. And, you know, it brought me back to this little girl because I'm thinking, boy, their dog wasn't vicious, but these dogs were very vicious when I was there. You know, so, you know, my heart just kind of went out to the little girl. I was more worried about her than I was myself.
Heidi, this is Dennis.
And then the other thing I noticed, too.
A question for you. When you delivered the, I think it was food you were delivering?
Groceries, yeah.
Groceries. You did not go past the fence?
Never.
Never. But how did the dogs get to you if there was a fence between you
They came because that fence did not stop them because they cornered me up at the garage. They cornered me up at the garage before it goes to the house because I was trying to get away from them. And I was, like I said, I was screaming at them to say, hey, your dog's biting me. And I kept yelling, help. And then she came out of the house.
Was it this is Terry again.
So I was just trying to get away from them.
Heidi, was it an electric fence or a physical fence?
They had a wrought iron fence, I believe it was, and it had, like, I noticed after the fact, even when I would drive by for other deliveries, they had like 4 different openings where those dogs could go out that fence. And even days past I went by, and there's still openings. So, right, they were not quarantined into the yard at all. They could definitely get out. There was there were like sections of the fence missing.
Okay. Any other questions?
Not for me.
Okay. Heidi, thank you very much.
I get to ask.
Yep.
Eric?
Yeah, Mr. Robson does have the opportunity to ask the witness questions as well.
Heidi, I'm extremely sorry for your experience. Those dogs are very sweet dogs, and your experience is not normal. You had a conversation with my wife through text that said to drop the food at the lamppost, correct?
Not messages from the wife. There's a note in our box, like when we get there, sometimes they'll show, sometimes they won't. It said to deliver to the lamppost, and that's where I was going, to the lamppost. And then the dog that came up right by me, and as I was like moving to put it down, they started nipping, and I was trying to get away, so I had the box in my hand still, and so I was trying to, keep away from them, and that's what pushed me up like by the garage so I could keep yelling, and for someone to come out and help me.
Okay.
But I never went past your fence at all.
Nope. I will explain. Okay. Let me explain the way the fence is set up. Okay. There's 2 fences. One of them is a wrought iron fence as somewhat of a physical barrier. The other one is an electric fence an underground electric fence for the dogs. Okay. The dogs can only go about 6 feet from the garage door. And that's probably about 6 feet back from that post. There was a conversation that she had with my wife when they were getting corrections done on groceries.
Well, I thought it was I thought she said it was her father that she was calling. That's what she said.
No, hold on. The girl that was there was a 17-year-old girl that was babysitting, if I remember the date, 2 or 3 kids. Okay, my niece and I believe another little boy. I'm trying to remember. So there were young kids in the house that she is responsible for. And we have taught her, when things go wrong, your primary care is those kids. The world could be burning down outside, and you're going to make sure those 2 kids are safe. So when she called me, it's,
Correct.
is Grace good? Okay, go. If she's calling the cops, great. That's perfect. Let them handle it. You worry about Grace. Get the dogs and Grace into the house. You do not have to interact with this lady. That's not your job as the babysitter. I am on my way. And I was on my way. I talked to the police officer. She was
Right.
gone before I got there.
Then the police officer told me to leave.
Yep. So, in the chat, you guys were discussing, you said, hello, they are out of raspberries. Would you like something else? My wife responded to that. When delivering, please do not enter my fence because we don't want them to enter the physical fence. Please leave in the driveway at the lamppost because the dogs cannot get to the lamppost, whether you are in the fence or outside of the fence. That is 6 feet back from where the electric fence is. They can't get there. And I understand that you are telling the truth. You are telling this how you remember the events. So I'm not trying to fight. I'm just saying, like, something doesn't add up. Like, the dogs cannot...
I don't know. I'm telling you what I remember. I just remember a dog nipping at me and me trying to protect myself.
Are there openings in your fence?
Yes, because the electric fence is the barrier that keeps the dogs in. The physical one is more for the kids than it is for the dogs.
So if the dogs are agitated,
May I say
they can go
something?
past the electric fence?
No, they never have.
Okay.
They haven't. When we
that's
first
not
got
true.
it, we found the level that keeps it from them from going past it, and they have not.
So are the openings in the
Okay, can I say something?
There's openings in the iron fence
Okay.
so that the dogs are able to run around the perimeter of the house. They cannot get to the property line because of where the fence is. The fence is a physical barrier that's more for the children and to tell other people, like, stay out of the yard. We do not want strangers interacting. And there's a lot of dogs that people walk, so that fence keeps the dogs from entering our yard. You know, it's a physical gap.
Heidi, you wanted to say something?
May I say something? I do. I don't agree with that because the fact is I've had underwire fencing for a dog of mine, and a dog can go through it. It just shocks them, but they can go through it if they want to go through it because I've had that happen. So I don't totally agree with it. It zaps them, but sometimes that zap just does not hold them back. So I don't agree with that. And my dogs were much bigger than that. My dog, it was a puppy that actually kept going through it. It was like a German Shepherd puppy. So, yeah, I can't say I agree with that 100% what he's saying because my dog literally would go through that fencing.
So when you work with invisible
It just shocks them. It doesn't prevent them.
They monitor the amount of times you pay for a certain amount of visits. They teach you how to train your dogs in the fence. They also monitor in a given period of time how many times that dog touches the fence, and then they start adjusting collars. And then on top of it, you pay another service where they update the battery. They'll come and swap out batteries, and they will also make sure that the dogs are not touching the fence. So we pay for this to make sure that our dogs stay in, because I don't want to go chasing a beagle around the neighborhood. I'll never find it.
No, sir, I understand that, and I'm not trying to be mean or anything.
No,
I'm going to state again,
playing events how you say
it just happens. It just happens. I mean, I'm not that person that's trying to have something bad happen to someone, but I do have concerns when a dog does do what those dogs did. I mean, I'm sorry, but they were very vicious that day. I mean, I love dogs, and I've never been afraid of dogs. But after that incident, I'm not going to lie. It bothers me now when I go to people's homes and they got these dogs that are just like, barking, erratically at me and stuff. I'm trying to help people. But, I mean, I'm sorry if no good comes out of this or whatever. I'm just stating the truth and the fact of how I see it. But I will tell you, I know you say those dogs are sweet as can be, but I have never, my sister was in my car phone. I had her on speakerphone, and she's like, what the heck is happening? She heard all the commotion, and, and I had to come back to the car and saying I just got attacked by 3 dogs, It was very painful, I'm not going to lie. So, I mean, I'm sorry, that's my experience.
Heidi,
So,
this is Dennis. I have one question to ask, I guess. When you were bitten, I've heard the fence post, I've heard the garage. Where exactly did the attack take place? Was it at the fence post? Was it at the
Just
garage?
right by, I was coming around my car. The front end of my car, to go to the fence post.
Okay.
So I was getting ready to put all the stuff down. All of a sudden, all I knew is I had these dogs biting at me. I had one, and I didn't think nothing of it at first because they were just jumping, and I thought, okay, I can handle it. I don't mind dogs jumping on me. But then they started biting me, and I was twirling around and ended up by the garage door itself, for your car to go through, but I never went past the fence or anything. It just said, drop by the post. It never said, anything else or anything like that. So, it was just said, deliver to the post. And I even told the girl, not knowing that she wasn't the person that ordered the groceries, I even told her, I said, sometimes too, because she made I can't remember, she made a comment about the fence or something, but we see notes in our app, but sometimes the notes actually don't appear, and I'll show people, and when they say, well, I put this on my note, this or that, to call me, and I'll pull it up and I'll say, here's my notes, look, there's nothing here. So sometimes you don't see stuff, and that's for everybody. It's just sometimes it's like an app issue or something. But all I seen was delivered to the post, and I pulled my car in and I walked around the front to go do that. So
Heidi, was it in the driveway where you were attacked, or was it closer to the fence post?
yeah, it was right by the post. It was right by the post. I was coming around. I was just beyond the post where my car was, and walking around the front of it to put it down at the thing.
And that's true,
So-
what you said, Heidi, about the Instacart messages, because that's happened to me as well. Some drivers haven't gotten a message.
Thank
or I
you.
haven't gotten a message, so.
But
Correct.
you acknowledged it in the chat. So you got the message. You acknowledged it in the chat.
No, I have messages on my end that I remember okay, I don't remember your conversation in the chat. I do so many chats with people, okay? But when I am doing chats, I'm usually only doing chats with people while I'm doing the grocery shopping, not during the delivery.
So you then forgot about it.
Well, I don't recall. I don't remember anything. To be honest with you, that whole episode, all I remember is coming to do the delivery, getting, bitten, and then police and leaving, and then being sore. I mean, it's like something I really don't care to remember.
Understand what the fence is and the posts and what we're talking about? This might
Yeah,
help.
we're looking at one.
Yeah, I
so.
just pulled one up and I'm confused because it looks like the fence and a tree in the front, and then the garage and house are set back. And is there a post?
Can I show you a picture?
Yeah.
Show us where the fence line, where the underground fence is.
So here's a look. This is standing at the porch. Okay, we'll zoom in. This is the mailbox. This is the light post. Okay, this is what we're talking about. The dogs cannot make it to the other side of this walkway because of the way the wire is run underground. They can't get there. So yes, they can go up to the garage. We park the cars this way so the dogs have free reign in front of those cars. Also, so that if a delivery comes, if somebody pulls in, they can't pull all the way up. This is how we've taught the kids to park.
Okay.
And at this time we had, 6 kids living in the house. There's always a car there. So if she would have dropped them right there, the dogs can't reach it. Now, I'm not saying she's telling you the events how she remembers them. Okay, I understand what it's like when something bad happens and you're trying to piece it back together after the fact. I'm not arguing with her or think that she's lying to this group. She's telling you as she remembers it.
Can I see
Is the post outside of the
It's
fence?
inside.
Yes. Well, the post is inside the fence.
So you wanted her to leave it at the post outside the
Outside
No, in the
fence?
driveway. And the message that I have told her, leave it at the light post or at the mailbox in the driveway. And she acknowledged it. She said, okay. And then they continued to talk about the groceries.
So did she get bit in the driveway?
She was in the driveway when she got bit, but she was up towards the garage.
She said the
So
dogs
she
started
went
nipping
past the-
when she first.
So they did go past the fencing.
They can't make it to that post. If she would have dropped the groceries there, they just would have barked at her.
Well, if they're worked up, I think they could get through that thing. Little stinging.
They did, if they would have gotten through it, they would have gotten shocked going back. Because it doesn't care which side you're on. They wouldn't have gone back. They would have stayed on the side.
Is there any possibility they didn't have their collars on at the
Nope, they
time?
had their collars on. That was something I checked as soon as I got home. And I'm the one that puts them on in the morning. Like, I'm very diligent about that because.
But they have to be touching.
Yep, no.
You know, if they're fighting and stuff, maybe one got pulled off. I mean, that can happen. My kids' dogs, that happens. Collar's not in all the way.
Yeah,
If she got bit in the driveway, they got past the fence. Simple as that.
They did not. I should have kept the video.
Thank you.
I wish I would have. She did not. She went farther up.
Towards the garage doors?
Towards the
They
garage.
Does
had
the fence
to
go
be,
under the driveway? The
Yeah, it
electric
goes under.
fence?
There's this line where you see the concrete. That's where they buried that wire, so they can't go past that point. So they buried it in the crack in the driveway.
Okay.
I think the point is that we have a person that was bitten numerous times, wherever she was at. She was bitten by your animals, yes.
Instructions
Yeah.
that she acknowledged. She entered private property, not following the instructions that were told her. That's the point that I made.
Is your backyard fenced in?
What was that?
Is your backyard fenced
Yes.
in the back? Is there a reason why they were not in the back?
We generally, up until this last instance, we'd let them roam around. They could enter in and out of that back area. Since the last incident, they have been, unless I am home or my wife is home, they are confined to the fenced-in backyard area. The kids, when I say kids, I have kids ranging up to 20, are not allowed to let them out front. There has to be myself or my wife at home. Those are the only times that we let them in the front yard is when her and I are there, just to make sure that nothing ever happens again. So that's one thing that we started doing. Another thing is we met with we looked into different trainers. We figured out which one we thought would be the best. And I have a letter from him talking about Mac. And I think it's for both him and Buddy, it's over $5,000, and we're contracted to go through the training with him now. It took us a little while to find somebody that we wanted to use. And he was a Beagle owner, just because Beagles do present some certain challenges. They like to follow their nose. So these dogs have been, the way that we raised them was to be emotional support animals. Okay, there's been a lot of stress in my kids' lives growing up, and my wife's. My wife, from her previous husband, was a domestic violence victim, so a lot of emotional stress in our house, and our dogs are there to assist with that. We don't need them for hunting. We want them to be sweet and sensitive people, but in turn, they are also very defensive of the children in the house. This only ever happens when there's not an adult, myself or my wife, there to be in control of the situation.
Okay, continue, I guess. Mr. Robson, do you have any other questions of Heidi?
No.
Okay.
think I proved it.
Board members, any other questions of Heidi?
I have one.
Go ahead.
You went to the doctor, Heidi, and were checked out?
yes,
Who paid for that medical
Yes.
bill? You paid?
that what?
Who paid?
I have Badger care, so I didn't have to pay.
Okay. Thank you.
So it was covered with my insurance.
Thank you.
The only other thing that happened was he tore my pants. And I got a big hole in my pants, but that was it.
Heidi, is there anything else you'd like to talk to the board about?
No, just, use your judgment, what you feel is the right thing to do. I mean, like I said, I'm not out to get anybody or anything. I'm just saying I was attacked, and at that time, those dogs were very vicious, and it really shook me up quite a bit. So
I say we're sorry you were bitten and we had to go through that situation, but thank you very much for participating in the telephone call to clarify points and
all right,
do that as well. So
Can I ask Andrew one more question?
all right,
Um,
sure.
you have her text because you were texting her. You at any time reach out to her and ask if she was okay?
It was through Instacart was the message. Otherwise, I did
Okay.
not have another way to contact her.
Okay.
She would have.
To his defense,
I would have been inquired of how.
ma'am,
Yes, Heidi.
to his defense, he couldn't do it if he tried. Once I close out the app, I have no information on him, address, phone number, anything. I never can see any messages or anything, and I don't think he would even have the option to contact me.
Okay, thank you.
So there was no way he could possibly check up on me unless he went to the police and asked them to find out or anything. But no, he would not have that ability. For his defense, I honestly have to say that he would not have. For my protection and his protection, once the job is done, there's no access.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Heidi, for taking the time to meet with us.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Heidi.
All right. Thank you. Yep. Mm-hmm.
So I do.
Bye.
Thank you. I do believe we have the third victim here. This is the most recent bite on August 9th, 2025. Let me just make a call out to the people on the phone. Do we have that third victim, male victim on August 9th on the call?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Do you want to state your name for the board?
Chris Anderson.
Thank you. And again, just as the previous victim, just like you to explain your experience and give your impact statement.
Yes, I was driving for Uber Eats, and I pulled up, parked alongside of the road, and walked up the driveway in between the vehicles, was going to put the food on the porch, and when I got to the end of the cars that were parked, the door opened, and the dogs ran out. There were two of them. And the first one got to me, jumped up on my leg, and nipped me just above the knee. And then the girl grabbed that dog off of my knee, and the other dog came around behind her and then bit the side of my leg. That's the one that had broken the skin. And then at that moment, I was just like, okay, so here's your food. Put it on the hood of the car that was closest to the garage, and I was very frustrated, but she did ask me if I was okay, and I said, well, I did get bit a couple times, so I'm just going to go and have this looked at, and I got back in my vehicle, and I drove straight to the emergency room because I had looked down and I saw my shorts were ripped, and I saw the bite marks. So I went to the emergency room first, and then they asked me what had happened, and I told them I was bit by two dogs, and they said, well, they had to call into the Green Bay Police, which then transferred over to De Pere Police, and I had talked to an officer on the phone about 3 hours later just to confirm what had happened.
Now, Cliff, when you said the dogs came out, they came out the front door of the house?
Correct.
Okay. And
Correct.
was it all the dogs, one dog, two dogs?
Two dogs, two beagles.
Okay. And there is no wire in front of the front door, is there? It's
She would have had to have gone past that point that I showed you on the sidewalk before the dogs could have.
Okay.
So my daughter, do you have any more questions for me?
Yeah.
I can
Okay.
give some more information. You guys are ready.
Anyone have any questions for that third victim, Chris?
Chris, had you been given, this is Terry, I'm one of the board members. Were you given any instructions to not go past a certain point in the yard? Leave the food by a post or leave the food in the driveway?
No.
This is
Nope.
Pamela. What were the extent of your injuries?
The first dog that nipped me above my knee just left a red bruising, but it didn't get through the skin. The second dog had bit and left about 1.5 inch bite, roughly. That's how white it was, and it broke through the skin and bled. By the time I got to the hospital, it had stopped. It had coagulated and it wasn't bleeding anymore. It wasn't a lot of blood, but basically just broke the skin. And it wasn't a deep, it didn't like tear at the muscle, but it just broke through and it was bleeding. So.
Did the dogs rip through your clothes at all?
Yes, it went through my clothes. I still have the shorts actually. So yeah, ripped my shorts. But that was it. I didn't need stitches. Just they just gave me a tetanus shot and then put a bandage over and cleaned it up and put a bandage over.
I'm really sorry you had to go through that.
This is Pamela again. Who paid for your medical bill?
Well, my work does. So, but I have a $4,000 deductible, and that's not met yet. So I will be paying the bills myself until the deductible's met, and we usually don't meet our deductible, so that's coming out of my pocket for the emergency room visit.
And how has that affected you in your job, around other dogs, emotionally?
Well, I think the dogs were excited. I think they're like the owner said, they're there to come to support the family, and when somebody's on their lot, I understand that the dogs were just excited about someone being there and they're protecting her. I was just walking up to drop off food, so it was kind of taken by surprise by it just happening right away like that. I'm a dog lover. I've been around other dogs that are like that they're just trying to protect, so I'm fine. I don't have a concern about that. That's not an issue. It's not going to stop me from delivering Uber Eats. So.
Do you have suggestions, recommendations, how this could play out differently for the next person?
I just thought about just the fence that's in the front yard. If they could just connect that fence from the corner of that fence up to the porch, so that if there was a delivery or accidentally the dog got out, the dog couldn't get to the driveway. Just having a fence put between the house and that corner of that front fence. I think that would be my only suggestion. Being a dog lover, I'm not a proponent of removing animals from a family. Just try to make it so that if the door does open, the dog just can't get to the driveway. That would be my suggestion, just to put a fence door there.
Thank you.
I just want to ask a clarification. In the report, it says that the 2 dogs ran out of the house and towards you. And that means that they ran out of the front door? And you're...
Correct, from the porch, yes.
Okay, you're on the porch and they ran out the front door, but the girl opened up the door to get the food and the dogs beat her out the door?
So I never made it to the porch. Okay. I was walking up the driveway and I think there were 3 or 4 cars. I walked in between the cars to go drop off the food. I got to the end of the cars and I was about to turn to head towards the porch to drop the food off, and the dogs met me at the front of the cars.
At the front of the cars?
Correct.
Okay.
Do you feel like you went past the post or you did not?
He didn't get that instruction.
I'll be honest, I don't know where the post is. I never thought about a post. I just parked in the driveway and walked up the driveway between the vehicles and was going to turn around or turn past the cars and put the food on the porch and turn around and leave. So I'm not sure what you're talking about as far as a post. I didn't pay attention to that.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
There were no, yeah, no, that's okay.
And I'm sorry you had to go through that. Thank you.
Any other questions from the board?
I don't have.
Mr. Robson, would you like to ask him any questions
Here's the
or
bill.
clarify anything?
As far as your medical bill, if we can figure out a way that we can exchange information, I'm happy to take care of that. I have no way of getting in touch
thank
with
you very
somebody.
much.
He left right away. So I have no way. So
Yeah,
I can rattle off my phone number right now if you're ready, and then we can text.
sure. I'm very willing, and thank you for offering. Are you ready to write this down?
Sure. What's your number?
920-660-3131.
All right, sounds good. After this, you'll be hearing from me.
And I know that.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so as the previous lady stated, we have standing instructions inside of these apps as to what we want the drivers to do, but they sometimes don't get relayed to the drivers. Like we put this in there because we understand that our dogs can be difficult and we want to make sure that people stay safe. Obviously, we're here because I need to take further precautions, and we've already started that. Something that, so like my daughter, one of my younger daughters, Paris, was there that day. His recollection of events seems to miss one or two things. Her telling him to stop is one of them. Like I said, it's when it happens, it's a lot. It happens at once, so things can seem differently. So I'm not. Please do not take this that I'm accusing anybody of lying. I just have my daughter. She can be on the phone if you guys want to ask her questions. Her events are slightly different. Asking him to stop and he's not, and she was agitated about it because she knew what was going to happen next. So she's more. We can ask her. I did not quite understand what this format was going to be, so I definitely did not prepare, like, to talk to witnesses and stuff like that. So. Definitely my apology on that.
I can clarify that now that I think to it. She did say to me and yell, "Get back." By the time I heard her say that and it was registering, I was already up towards the front of the cars, closest to the front of the car, the trunk, and she was yelling it. But when I had registered what was happening, that's by the time that happened, the first dog was jumping on me. So I did hear her say that. So.
I'm not disagreeing with anybody on that. I'm just saying I don't know that this warrants Mac being removed from the home.
So this front side, huh?
Any other questions you have of the victim?
No.
Okay.
They obviously got out.
Anybody else?
I'm looking at a picture of the house, and I see the car parked next to the fence. This is for Mr. Robson. Yes. And I see a gap between, there's a car parked in the driveway, and I'm sure this is not present time, but there's a gap in the fence, like a door wasn't latched or something.
Or where the sidewalk is, where there's two, so there's typically, so there is a gap right up next to the garage.
Yes.
You can come and see the picture
Sure.
if you'd like.
See that gap there?
You're talking up towards the front, or
Yes,
the gap where
right
the
by
two
the car,
little
yeah,
gate is?
yeah.
So there's a gate there, and then there's a gap for the dogs to be able to go by the garage, to be able to go circle around to the back of the house. So one of the things that we're proposing is that we do close that gap or turn that into a gate, so that when the dogs do come out, if somebody is there that shouldn't be, that the dogs can't get through that gate.
So if they're able to come out and go around to the back, that's a time that they're not behind a fence?
Well, they're behind an invisible fence, like they can't escape unless they were thoroughly
Agitated.
Yeah, which they haven't. There's the neighbors behind us have dogs that will sit, and if I let them, they'll sit and bark at each other, and they've never crossed that. We followed the process that the invisible fence wants us to make sure that it's a high enough deterrent. They're smart enough. They hear there's a beep before they get an electric shock. When they hear that beep, they back off.
I'm sorry, did you say that you have had the fence closed in or you're working on it?
We have not closed in that aspect yet. I was kind of waiting for, we were talking about different scenarios and what to do, and I was kind of, there is a closed in portion of the backyard. It's 100% closed in. That's where the dogs have been.
Okay. Thank you.
But we're making that area bigger, and then also in the front, we talked about closing that off, but we were waiting to see what recommendations were going to come from this meeting. Because if you guys do overlook it, I'm sure there is something that's going to happen, or a change that is going to request for community safety.
And what was the reason why it was not closed in?
So that the dogs were able to venture on the, so in the backyard, there's a fence for the pool, okay? Right now they go back, so that's the area that's fenced in, and you can go, if we let them out the front, they can go on the exterior of that fence. So they'll run circles around the house.
But you don't have an electric fence underneath your driveway, do you? You do, okay.
Absolutely.
What is the temperament of the dogs? They're beagles, I believe, right?
When they don't feel like somebody's threatening them, and I don't know why it's it's rare instances, like, they're great. Buddy likes to bark at squirrels. We joke about his nemesis is the squirrel in the front yard that sits on the other side of the fence. But like, I can pull my phone, pull multiple pictures of the kids lounging with the dogs in bed and just playing and pulling the tails, and the dogs, they love the kids. And even like the older kids, like like my kids that are 17, 18, 19 years old, they bring their friends over, and we never have an issue with their friends walking in at midnight after being out. Like, the dogs will bark and let us know that somebody's here, and they'll jump up wanting to be petted. But that's it. That's the extent of it.
How much exercise do they get? Do you take them for regular walks and around the neighborhood or to a dog park?
As much as I'd like to, but they have their fence gives them a pretty large area. I mean, it's been more problematic since we locked them more in the backyard.
Sorry.
So
No, you're
restricted, but otherwise, with three of them, we chase each other around the yard.
That's true.
I want to say, any other questions for Cliff?
How do the kids react around the dogs? Are they afraid of them? Even after the 3 incidences?
We didn't know, not even the slightest.
Pam, while he's looking, any other questions for Cliff? I guess he could
Yep.
leave.
Is there a reason why you didn't take any action after the first time, the second time?
First time with Grizzly, we figured out how to pull the dogs apart. The second time was like, she did not follow the instructions. The third time is when we're like, okay, hold on. We got to start thinking about something different. We started making changes. We got letters and everything like that. So we were already working on increasing the area, the fencing area in the backyard. And then we figured that, okay, we need to start talking to the dog trainers and figure out which one. Because like when you go and you're going to spend, like it was like $5,100 or something like that to do the dog training. Like, we had to find the right dog, somebody that's worked with beagles before, but also worked with animals that were labeled as dangerous animals. So that whatever is setting them off when these strangers come on, and it's not every stranger. Okay? We have random people that show up all the time, and there's no problems whatsoever. We had a birthday party where half the people had not been at our house in years, and the dogs roam free, and there's no problems whatsoever. So he's got to work with them to train those behaviors out of it. And part of me is sad about that because I'm training like children's defense out of the dogs, but most of them want people to do it.
Cliff, if there's no other questions here, why don't you, you can either stay on or you can hang up if you'd like. Just so you don't have to sit around and listen to us all the time now, but.
Chris, I think he means you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
Do you know?
Yeah, that's okay. You don't have any more questions for me?
I don't.
I don't think so.
One
no.
more, Pam does.
No, I don't. Thank you.
Okay, thank you all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Do you know that it was definitely the same dog who did all of the fights? Or how?
So, Buddy has a strike against him, I believe, and Mac has two. So we're pretty certain going through the events that it was Mac was the culprit for this last one. But we're paying for training for those because they're one's 3, one's 4, so they spend a lot of time playing with each other. They're both to do. We talked through the trainer and like, okay, so do you just train them, which would be awesome because they can have some money. And he's like, you're going to get better results to do too. The program that we're doing with them, when we're done, we should be able to walk them through a grocery store and they will stay right by our side without doing anything. And the dogs also come with, like his training comes with a lifetime warranty, so we can go to the facility like they have certain scheduled classes throughout the week. We could go to every one of those classes for the rest of the dog's life. If we want to. And if we have to encounter, if there's something new that happens, like let's say the neighbor has that moves in next to us, the house next to us, for example, and they have a dog that doesn't respect the boundaries of the property line. And we need to then train them to like, what is the dog supposed to do when they're approached by another dog that's unwanted? Like they'll train us on how to do that. Like that's part of the amount that we're paying. So it's not just about training in this current situation. It's also about making sure that we can get them trained on any situation going forward.
I have a couple questions. Why didn't you post a sign on your fence right at the entry to the driveway when somebody's driving? Looking at the picture of the house, I don't see a sign.
Yeah. Pull a picture up.
Yep.
Like the old picture.
Right there. See a little white sign?
Oh.
What does the sign say?
Oh,
It says
yeah.
call. It gives 2 phone numbers, mine and my wife's.
Okay.
But it doesn't say like danger or anything like that.
No, we did not put danger, watch out for dogs.
Okay.
Maybe we should have.
But you're pretty sure it was the same dog?
Yes.
Oh.
Either way, we're taking precautions. It's not, we're taking precautions to make sure that we're treating them both.
It's the sign.
How many animals do you currently have?
There's 3 dogs. Grizzly is 12, 13 years old. He's missing half of his teeth. I'm literally missing half of his teeth. I have to put water in his dog dish with his dog food and let it sit so that he's able to chew it. So
Do you still have the cats?
there's 0 cats in the house.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of cats. I'm not a cat person.
Which one's 3?
Max 3.
Yeah.
Buddy's 4.
And when did you get them?
Both. So Grizzly was a rescue, and then our children were getting very attached. And when we got Grizzly, they said 8, but his muzzle was already pretty white, and we were worried about, with my son being autistic, that if our only dog died and we didn't have another dog, that would be some serious emotional trauma to him. And we wanted, the Beagles were, Grizzly was great. So we wanted to stick with the Beagles. So we actually went to a breeder and got Buddy, and then we realized, oh, okay, Buddy's going to be kind of lonely, so we got Mac as well.
So you got Mac after Buddy, or
Yeah,
Buddy and
they're
Mac?
a year apart.
Oh, okay. Oh,
So-
from the same, okay.
Yeah, from the same breeders. They're probably either cousins, first cousins or second cousins.
Okay.
Are they all vaccinated and do they all have licenses?
Yes. The licenses took some figuring out, and I apologize for that. I thought I was good. I talked to somebody that had called me about the license, and it's not either one of you guys. It was a third person. I don't know who. So I thought I was good, and then all of a sudden I got a ticket in the mail. And it's like, okay, I'm not sure what to do here. And I got another ticket, and then I really figured out what to do. So that's actually nice to put a face to the name. So I talked to you today.
Why didn't you take them to training when you first got them?
Because they were behaving the way that we wanted to. We moved into De Pere a couple of years ago. When we were on a previous address in Green Bay, we did not have this issue.
Mm-hmm.
So they were behaving with the kids the way that we wanted to. So like Grace I think is about the same age as Buddy. So as Grace was a baby, like she had this puppy that she was playing with and would nap with and lay on like a pillow and all of these things, and like they were growing up together. So like they were doing, and they're acting like when my son is upset, dogs go up and they want to be petted and they want to get space and they want to get him to calm down. Those are the behaviors we were looking at. I didn't need a husband. I wanted somebody that, like, there's instances of like trauma in my family that me and my wife are not the cause of. That we wanted those kids are having a bad day. We need those dogs to be there for them to relate to and hug and love and feel better. And emotional support animals without actually going through some fancy training. Which now we're going to get kids trained.
When did you move to De Pere?
3 years ago, 4 years, 3 years ago. So Mac was still a puppy.
Mac was still a puppy, okay.
He was pretty young.
Was there an incident that might have provoked these things to start happening? Because you said it didn't happen before.
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
I know, like, my wife's ex-husband was over a couple of times, and he's not a pleasant person.
Okay.
And he is very vulgar, and he is threatening. And dogs do not like him. You know, these incidents happened after that. Those were, so like me and my wife, when we were talking about this a couple of days ago, that's the closest that we can come. Is there something about what happened that reminded them of that?
And is it your son that's autistic?
Yes.
And I read in the police report the son said something about he'll never come to this home again, or he didn't want to live in the home. Was he talking about your home, or?
Oh yeah, he says that one.
Does he still live there? Okay. He was just mad when he said it.
Yeah, just kind of said
I worked with kids with autism, so I understand the behavioral stuff. So
he's got a, you know, he's 19 years old, and it's tough for him.
How is he around the dog? So,
Oh, is he?
yes,
He's great.
because didn't one of them bite at him?
His perception of things.
when he was trying to separate the dogs, I think that's.
Don't think he's watching. We're not sure that he got bit or scratched.
Okay.
That event could have been something else.
Oh, like he said he ran up.
Trying to sit on his ladder or anything like that. His perception of events that day. When his world goes sideways, it goes sideways.
So he's okay with the dogs?
Yeah, absolutely.
How do the dogs react when somebody in the family fights with, like if your younger kids fight with each other, or if you and your wife are arguing, how do the dogs react then? Like get out of you.
They're trying to get in our lap to be pet, to make their faces.
How do they act when, obviously you're on Webster, so a lot of people come by. How do they act when other dogs like walk by?
They bark at the other dogs. Mac, so they've interacted with dogs other than themselves. We had a worker that come work with Sam 3 days a week. He had a large German Shepherd. Buddy played with him for almost, since he was a puppy, that's when we would just pin him down. Only his mouth. So they played together for several years. They barked at the dogs in the past. We probably should have done a better job of introducing the stranger dogs more often. So the previous address that we had, there was a neighbor. We had a joint fenced in yard with that neighbor. We had a large yellow lab that Buddy and her played together all the time. So we're back to one's.
Have the dogs ever fought and hurt each other than that one incident?
That is the only incidents where they hurt each other. And that's because we need to do those understanding how to separate. Other than that, they don't. And we don't. If we see them starting to, we'll let Mac and Buddy wrestle and play with each other. We usually will keep Grizzly. Grizzly tries to be involved, but if you have older dogs and you watch a 12-year-old, 13-year-old dog try to bounce around, like, it's cute, but no, you don't need to really get rid of that.
So what is the process that you use when you have people deliver groceries or deliver food or whatever to your house?
99% of them drop it at that lamp post in the driveway.
Okay, now, the question is, do you tell them to drop it at the lamp post, or do they know that? Or they have people switch all the time, so what is your reaction to that? What do you tell them?
We talked to the mailman, okay? So he's got it in his instructions, and then also, whatever notes he has it in there. And then we move the mailbox to such a place that if they just drop off the mailbox and leave, that's fine. FedEx, UPS, I mail will put instructions for our address, so the packages come to our address. There are instructions, leave it there. Rain or shine. I've had more than one package get very, very wet, and I'm perfectly fine with that. So they understand this. When we use Instacart, we don't do a lot of Uber Eats, but in those, we put those same instructions. You can put details in the app, but as the one lady said, they don't always see them. Fault of the app. That I don't know, I'm never on the receiving end of it.
I can't read your sign. It's really tiny on my computer, but what does it say?
Do not enter the fence, call, and then it has our phone numbers.
Okay.
So we probably should be a little more, it probably should be, we'll change it depending on what we all decide here. This probably should be do not enter the property. You have permission, please call. So I even thought about trying to, move our ring doorbell up to the mailbox instead of leaving it on the house. Just so that nobody hasn't seen close to that.
Or say something that indicates danger too, like have it in red and have danger, protective animals or something like that.
Or beware of dog.
Yeah, beware of dogs.
So I just have a couple of questions. Is it okay that I ask
Yeah,
questions?
yeah, you can ask
Okay.
questions as well.
So because we go by what we see in the police report, we were not there. So I understand that Grizzly did, we have documented that the son was bitten and skin was broken, and that's why we needed to follow the state statute on the quarantine order and all of that. And Grizzly's ear, it said, was dangling on the police report. So help me understand how, with a cone on, because I understand that Mac had a cone on, how Mac can get at Grizzly's ear to cause it to dangle, a bite so significant that it causes it to dangle.
All right, I'm going to break this into a couple of parts. First part, you said you go by what the police report said.
Yep.
Looking through all that documentation, I never found a way to argue with that. So I don't know what that process is, and that's something that's been frustrating to me. Second of all, the cone is set at such a distance that they can eat and they can drink, but they can't lick themselves because his paw had an infection, so we had to keep him from being able to lick his paw. Okay? But his nose comes like maybe an inch from the end of the cone, because he's got no baby food and water bowl. So when he went up tight against Grizzly's face, that ear was slapping in his cone. So he didn't really that.
Okay.
Well, they have long
In
ears.
hindsight, we just would have let him wrestle and just said back off.
Sure.
But the problem was Sam was involved and the situation was not as simple.
Okay. So then after that second bite, we follow our department procedures and we give anticipatory guidance to, the dog owners, saying that, okay, 2 bites, we have documentation. I just want to let you know, 1 more bite, because in our procedures, it's 3 bites. Then we're going to have to issue a dangerous dog order. And that second bite letter was dated April 24th. Did you receive that letter?
To be honest, I don't remember that letter, but that doesn't mean that I received it.
Okay. And then...
I mean, I looked at it because you provided it with all the documentation.
Sure. Okay. And then, did you know that there was a variance required, that our ordinance only allows 2 dogs? If you have 3, that you would need a variance. Did you know that?
We found that out, I think, after the incident with Grizzly. And then I thought, like, we were getting tags. And I had a phone call with somebody. And I thought I was good. and then I discovered later, like through other incidents, that wasn't right.
Okay.
And it just, the process was a little complicated, it took me a while to figure it out. I'm not
Okay.
trying to circumvent paying the $7 a year for the dog.
Right,
Or
right.
getting the variance.
Okay. So, and did you you receive the variance? Because I issued it after consulting with the police chief. That's, again, part of our process. And it was a conditional variance. And in that letter dated in July, it said if there was one more bite incident, that we would need to revoke that variance. So again, it was written in that letter, it was a conditional variance. And again, that was a letter dated in July. It was part of the packet.
Yeah, July 15th.
Yeah, I remember receiving the variance. So that goes a part of it, like, when people are not following instructions, like, is that, you know, the third bite, like, she wasn't following the instructions, like, so we talked to the water first, she was available to wait because I'm long. There. Like, he was not following instructions. He admitted it. Like, he wasn't listening. He wasn't being observant. Like, she was there to tell him. She was there to receive the food from him. We knew it was coming. We were prepared. So, like, you guys asked, well, why didn't she take? We did. She was there. She was waiting for him. She was going to go out and meet him. And he didn't listen. So she was telling him to stop.
No, I understand. So I appreciate that. And I'm just saying in the letter, in the conditional letter, we don't give specifications as to whose fault it is. It's just one more police incident. Because that third dog is not part of our regular ordinance. It's an exception for that third dog to have that variance. So it's almost... I don't want to say a privilege, but I mean, with that variance, you get to have an additional dog. So that, I mean, that was written in the letter giving anticipatory guidance. So I just want to make that very clear for everyone on the board. And so I guess I don't have any more questions of Mr. Upson, but I do just have a closing conclusion statement. So I'll just ask if anyone else has any questions of me or the procedures of the health department. Again, we follow the ordinance and we follow our health department procedures. So we do it the same every single time.
I guess the only question I think I have at this time is you talked about measures that you want to take. One is, educate family members, reinforce the signage. You want to hire somebody to train the dogs at a cost of $5,100, something like that. Is there a reason why the dogs are not confined just to the backyard? Because it seems like all the problems have occurred in the front yard from the driveway going to the house.
Right.
Why couldn't they just put the wire in the backyard and put the dogs in the backyard?
So that when the kids are playing outside of the fenced into the pool area and around the side of the house, that the dogs are able to be back there as well. It gives them just more area to be able to run. That's all.
But that seems to be the problem area as well.
I don't disagree. Like, we are making changes.
Any other questions?
I have a question. So did you already hire a dog trainer?
Yeah, so like I said, I wasn't 100% sure of what this format was going to be. So like, here, I'll just hand you this.
And also, do you...
So like, if you look at the back documents, you can see the letter from the trainer. And then also the contract for his services and the down payment that he's already been required.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, because we've met with them to make sure that, so the documents at the very back are, he came to the house to evaluate Mac, because this was specifically about Mac. And then, we're getting training for both. So, and it kind of goes through and his observations of Mac.
And will you be trained also as well as your family with the dog?
Correct.
Because
That's-
it's not just
that's-
the trainer, it's the whole family.
So not only will my wife and I be getting trained with the dogs, the kids will also be receiving that training as well, so that there's no reason, that they understand how to call the dogs, how to behave with the dogs, how to get the dogs to obey commands under stressful situations. So, and then we took on 2 foster kids, so there'll be, the 2-year-old's not going to be much involvement early on, but as he gets older, he will be. The 5-year-old will learn this as well.
I just have a question on this document. On page 4 of the document, it says we have been responsible pet owners, and on the 4th bullet, it says we sought and obtained proper variance when we acquired the 3rd dog. When did you acquire the 3rd dog?
I'm sorry, I probably, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. You said page 4?
Yep, page 4. And that's 1, 2, under why we deserve another chance. Number 1, you said we have been responsible pet owners, and then it says bullet 4, we sought and obtained proper variance when we acquired the 3rd dog.
I'm sorry, that was my mistake. I was at it. Yeah, we had the 3rd dog before we moved to Pere.
Okay. And then just to make a point of clarification too, that quarantine order is a state law. And so there's requirements, right? That it says that you voluntarily complied, but it is a required order by state law. So I just wanted to make that clarification.
That's fair. Thank you.
Yep. But thank you for this document.
I'm not a lawyer, okay? I'm doing my best to
either.
explain all of my notes and everything like that as I've been processing and thinking about this. And I probably would have done some of these things very differently if I would have understood this format better. That was my bad.
So I don't have any more questions.
Any other questions, Mr. Robson? I'd like to propose that we go into closed session and discuss this.
Could I just do a conclusion before?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so just according, these findings meet the legal definition of a dangerous dog in accordance with 86.4 Parent C and are in accordance with our department procedures. Just make a note that anticipatory guidance after the 2nd bite of MAC and the conditional variance education was provided by the department. And it has been documented that the animal owners do not maintain adequate control of the dogs residing at this property. And this pattern and, whether they're biting or aggressively chasing, because that is what is written in our ordinance, there's a documented history of aggressive and threatening behavior. And it seems to be happening more frequently in the 3 bites, that the space in between them is getting more frequent. So MAC, in my opinion, poses a significant and ongoing risk to the safety of people and other animals. Future visitors to the property, whether adults or children who are invited or unannounced, would be at risk of injury and associated adverse health outcomes. So due to the multiple bite incidents and the increasing frequency of these incidents, I've concluded that the issuance of the dangerous dog order was necessary to safeguard human health and public safety.
We'll make a concluding argument.
Yes.
Each one of those incidents revolved in people not understanding something, not following instructions. The first one would not have, the only reason the police were there to begin with, the vet would not have reported it as a dangerous animal. The only reason that it came to anybody's attention was because of Sam literally running away because he was struggling that day. The second incident, somebody didn't follow instructions. They were told what to do. They acknowledged what to do. They came on a private property, disobeyed instructions. And the same thing with the third one. Somebody was waiting, telling them, begging them to stop, and they refused. So I understand what you're saying 100%, and I don't disagree. And that's why we're going to start taking more precautions than what we've already had. We've already made changes to our house, and we're going to continue to make more changes because I don't want anybody to get bit. They really are sweet dogs. But each one of these is somebody they weren't doing it, and we're going to train that out of them. That is part of why we hired the individual that we did. So he was very surprised to show up to meet these dogs and be like, these are dangerous dogs. And that's why he wrote the letter that he did. And he even said, I'll write this letter just whether you guys hire me or not. And we ended up hiring him because we thought he was the best fit. So I would like to ask for one more bite opportunity. I'm not asking to make it all go away. I'm just asking for one more.
I hope it's one more non-bite opportunity.
We don't want it to ever happen again, and we are going to make it where it doesn't. We will train the behavior out of the animals, as harsh as that sounds.
I'd like to have a motion to go into closed session and discuss this.
I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We'll go into closed session for, okay, back to order. Quiet discussion on this issue. And we have two motions basically before us right at this time. One, I want to entertain a motion to deny the dangerous dog order.
I'll second.
Have a second on that?
Sorry.
Okay. And let's do individual votes. All in favor, say aye.
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 Anybody denies? So the motion to entertain to deny the dangerous dog order passes. The dog is not classified as being dangerous. Second motion is to sustain the variance revocation according to what the health officer recommends at this time as well. So can I have a motion to sustain the variance revocation as described in our letter, which means that the third dog, 3 dogs, would be reduced down to 2 dogs.
And no specific one.
No specific one, just basically to say it's as the health officer stated, she's denied, she wants to deny, and we need support from the board to go down to eliminate the exception having 3 dogs, because our city ordinance only says we have 2 dogs per household.
I move to support the variance.
Okay, motion sustain the variance. Okay, you move to support.
Sustain.
Sustain.
Sustain the revocation.
Sustain the revocation.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do I hear a second?
Robin.
Motion sustain the revocation, the variance revocation. Okay, we have a motion. Do we hear a second?
Robin gave a second.
Robin, okay, Robin second. Okay. All in favor to, help me with this, Eric, to deny or to accept the revocation, say aye.
Aye.
Aye? Aye. Aye. Okay. Any opposed? None. So that means at this time that we're accepting Chrystal's recommendation to reduce the number of dogs from 3 dogs down to 2 dogs. And the time period for that, there is no time period for that.
I think
2 weeks.
I think that's a
What
discussion
is
point, and that I think that's in the health department's discretion too.
Okay.
I know the original letter provided 2 weeks to do that, so I do think that that's a
appropriate as well then.
right. So I think that's a point of discussion we can have.
And that would be 2 weeks from a letter they received from the health department, or is that 2 weeks from tonight?
It would be 2 weeks from probably the date of the letter going out.
Okay.
But I think that can be subject to discussion with Chrystal as well. So if there's any condition specifically, if you want to do it from 2 weeks from the date of the letter, that's fine.
Okay. 2 weeks from the date of the letter that goes out then, Chrystal. Mr. Robeson, do you have any questions?
No, I appreciate your guys' time. Thank you.
We certainly hope, we had a lot of discussion on this thing, and these dog complaints, dog issues are always controversial sometimes, but it's really reducing it. We're not telling you to eliminate, I guess, 2 things. We denied the dangerous dog issue, so that's a moot point, but you have to go down from 3 dogs down to 2 dogs.
Okay.
In the next 2 weeks, after you receive the letter from the health officer. And then I certainly hope that these recommendations, the presentation you gave to us regarding what you wanted to do with the dogs in terms of contracting with the person, get them trained so they aren't quite so vicious. If they aren't vicious at all, they're friendly and so on and so forth is followed through by you as well as the other thing about the fence.
Yep.
And those other things are strictly recommendations that you propose to the board that you wish to do sometime in the near future.
Understood.
Can I just say one thing? I did
Yes.
read when I was outside your proposal, and the health department would not have the capacity to make periodic inspections of your property. So I'll just make that note that that's not a standard of practice for us to make those inspections of private property. So I just want to make that clear within this proposal that we wouldn't be doing those inspections of private.
But he can inform you as to what was completed.
For sure.
And give
For
you a
sure.
heads up what's going on.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
From what we were told with the trainer, to the extent of training that we're going to is in a few months' time, I'd be able to walk both dogs in here and they would sit and behave as though that they were registered support dogs. That's the education level that we're going to bring them to.
Okay.
Yep. And so I think the intent is we'll send, it'll be under the health department cover of explaining, the findings of the orders that you heard with a timeline consistent with what the board has decided. So there'll be further details on that as soon as possible, sent to you the same way that the last revocation letter went out.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Okay.
Also, a couple of recommendations. I really recommend a sign that says beware of the dogs. A big one with red borders, so it's more visible.
Yeah, we're going to be changing our signage. I
That
just
would be
didn't want to
great.
do anything and then you guys
That's
come up with
pretty
different
easy.
wording than what we were thinking and then have to do it all over again.
No, I understand that.
Okay.
And I'm sorry for what you're going through, because we know the victims are going through this, but I know with you and your family, that's going to be tough. So we do feel a lot of compassion for you, so.
And I do have some suggestions as well. I would possibly confine them to the backyard. Maybe get a front yard gate that closes all the way so they can't even get out. Maybe have a box in the front for your drop off and pick up. Better sign. So, I mean, obviously, I'm sure you're going through a lot, and we all love dogs, but we definitely don't want to see this happen anymore in the future for your family as well, for anybody else.
We love dogs that don't bite. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And come before us again.
Sorry it had to
Yeah.
come to this, but thank you.
Thank you very much for coming and taking the time to explain things for us. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.